I've been a stone bead maker since 1978. Made beads out of pretty much anything and everything. Some years ago now, I'm not really sure how long ago, I started doing specialty hard stone beads. A lot of them have ended up in a series that I call the Lopactrian series, to take off of Bactrian and my last name combined. This bead is made out of a very nice banded agate. The length of it's 1.3 inches long, or 35 millimeters. The diameter is 0.45 inches, or 11.4 millimeters, and it has a 4 millimeter hole in it. Really nice, because a lot of the grunt work, the main work was already done. They had a hole through them, which was a poorly done hole, and most of the stone was removed. Anyway, this is one such bead. Get my notes so I can actually not have to keep looking over there. This is one such bead. I did learn real quick that the Chinese would make these beads and then they'd put them in some kind of chemicals to alter the surface colors. They make some really nice looking beads until you get just below the surface. This particular bead has a 4 millimeter hole. It's 1.46 inches long, 37 millimeters. The diameter is 0.48 inch, or 12 millimeters. Anyway, a really visual bead. Okay, this is another such bead. This one was really had a lot of the chemicals on it. In fact, this might be the one that showed me right off that I wisely didn't buy a lot of these. I wanted to play with them first. This is again an agate. It's banded. It's kind of too bad they did what they did to it. We jokingly call it Groucho Marx. I don't know if I have it on the stick the right way. I think I do. Let me see. No, I don't. Anyway, again, this particular bead is 4 millimeter hole, 1.3 inches in length, or 33.6 millimeters, 0.53 inch in diameter, or 13.5 millimeters. Okay, this is the most delicate bead I've ever made in my life. It's made out of a really nice agate. The wall thickness down by the hole is 3/4 of a millimeter, so that there's no thickness at all to the wall down there. It's a raised center bead with a very slight taper. I was learning a technique when I made this bead. Again, the most delicate bead I've ever made in my life. The size, 1.4 inches long, 35.6 millimeters, or the center is 0.38 inches, or 9.7 millimeters, and it has a 4 millimeter hole. Really nice bead. Okay, this bead's made out of petrified wood, probably Arizona petrified wood. Again, I was experimenting with a double taper coming to a raised center. This one turned out pretty darn nice. It's got a 4 millimeter hole. It's 1.6 inches long, or 40.5 millimeters. And the diameter in the large area is 0.45 inch or 11.5 millimeters. This is when I started doing some changes to my techniques. I had been doing the tapered raise in the center, and I decided that I'd do a little bit of a change out, which I did on this bead. This is made out of nephrite, out of, I believe, Alaska. It's called polar jade. Really, really, really nice jade. Again, this is a very delicate bead on the outer edges. I think on the thickness of the wall on the edge of that bead, I'm going to say it's a millimeter. I'd have to measure it, but it's really, really thin, very delicate. Okay, this bead's 2.1 inches long, 53.4 millimeters in diameter, 0.48 inches at the center, or 12.5 millimeters. It does have a 5 millimeter hole. Really, really, really special bead. Okay, this is that same cut on an agate. Again, this was one of those Chinese beads that they'd put the chemicals on. It's really a shame that they can't appreciate the beauty in some of the stone they're putting chemicals on. This bead has a 5 millimeter hole, which I do a lot. It's 2.2 inches long, 35.8 millimeters. Let me do a little movement here. The outside diameter on the high area is a half of an inch or 12 millimeters or 12.2 millimeters. Anyway, this has a really, really, really nice pattern in it. And again, it's a real shame that they just couldn't appreciate the beauty of the piece of stone they were getting ready to dye. Fortunately, I could get most of the dyes off of it and get down into the actual banding and stuff. Okay, this particular bead is made from a agate, probably northern Mexico or possibly Arizona. The trade name for this material is called Royal Aztec. It's got a beautiful purple in it, really nice patterns. I intentionally left that flaw in it because it worked with the bead. It just made it a little bit more special. A nice rounded end. I work all my ends in the holes so that they won't cut string, whatever you have it threaded on. This bead has a 5 millimeter hole, 1.49 inches long or 38 millimeters. It's 0.55 inch or 13.9 millimeters at the center. Anyway, again, another really pretty bead. Okay, this bead is a material called Condor agate, which is out of Argentina, down in Patagonia area. Condor agate produces some of the most beautiful color combinations I've ever seen in agates. This is more, I don't know what I'm trying to say, more refined in shape. It's very long and really smooth graduations on the cut. This bead is 3 millimeter hole, 1.95 inches long or 49.7 millimeters long, 0.38 inch in diameter or 9.6 millimeters. Again, a really special bead. If anybody wants to see any of these in photographs, I'll gladly take photos for people. Okay, this next bead is from a local material that's called rhyolite. It's this particular material's pretty hard. I could have put eye shine on this, but I liked the matte finish on it. It lends itself very well to this type of stone and this big fat bead. This has a 6.3 millimeter hole. It is 1.54 inches long or 39 millimeters, 0.8 inch or 20 millimeters in the center of the bead. Very beautiful material. I wish I had a lot more of this, but I just got lucky and found a few pieces when I first moved into the area I live in now. Okay, this bead is from Chrysocolla from Arizona. It's from a mine called the Ray Mine, and anybody that knows the Chrysocolla around here would recognize this as Ray Mine material. Can't really explain to you why I'm saying that, but if you see a lot of Arizona Chrysocolla over the years, you'll start recognizing the look of each one. Okay, this one has a 5 millimeter hole. It is 1.1 inches in length or 28 millimeters. The diameter of the center is 0.49 inch or 12.5 millimeters. Really, really special bead, really gemmy material. Okay, this is another Ray Mine Chrysocolla bead. Same material, or the last bead they were all cut out of the same single piece. This particular bead has a 2.5 millimeter hole. Its width is 0.32 inch or 8.2 millimeters. The diameter is 0.66 inch or 16.7 millimeters. Really nice bead. It's got nice size to it. And as you can see in the image, it's a very nice chrysocolla. Okay, this bead's out of some of my old stash red coral. Super nice material. Unfortunately, when I drilled this bead, or the blank, I should say, not the actual bead, first time ever I had a piece of coral split a little bit. It's still a wonderful bead. Anybody that likes coral beads probably wouldn't have much trouble with the slight split that's in it. It really bothered me when it happened, but that's such as life. Okay, this is a 3 millimeter hole. The length is 0.75 inches, 8.8 millimeters. The outer diameter is basically a half an inch, 13.2 millimeters. Anyway, nice red coral bead. If somebody wants it, they can sure get it from me. Okay, as they say, the third time's a charm. Tried to do this 2 other times and have had pretty much failure. I've had a bead on my desktop for some years now. It's an ancient Chinese bead made out of carnelian that had this shape to it. I really, really, really loved the shape of the bead. Had a friend now, he was a YouTube watcher. He sent me this jade as a tip, best way to put it. It's called omphacite, black omphacite jade. It's out of Guatemala. Absolutely wonderful material. It's got a consistent hardness to it. It takes a killer shine. Super, super, super nice material. Okay, the bead has a 2.7 millimeter hole in it. It's 1.4 inches long, 35.5 millimeters long, 3.35 inch in diameter, or 9 millimeters in diameter. Anyway, I'll talk a little bit about this bead. Very involved, really a lot of thinking, a lot of setup, special things to do to cut these curves on each end, the curves that meet in the center, you know, the rounded end, the hole, this, that, and the other. The material is such that if you just have it in a room in your hand, or it looks black. If you backlight or light it up, it shows the wonderful green in it. I tried backlighting it. If you backlight it, it goes almost a imperial green. So I tried backlighting it in the last video, and I was wasting my time. Anyway, this is one of the most intense beads I've ever made. I keep moving it out of the camera view because if you're trying to do 3 things with 2 hands, it makes it kind of hard. Anyway, this is a really, really, really nice bead. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, this is one of my all-time favorite beads. It's my daily wear bead. It's made out of condor agate, which again, I've already said, condor agate's some of the most nicely colored agate that I've ever seen come out of the ground. I rarely name anything, but I named this bead the Red Eye Express. Very, very complicated cut on this. Lots of curve work and taper work and polishing, tons of polishing to get a bead this shape polished to this quality of polish is very time consuming. On this particular bead, if I had to guess, I guess I had close to 70 hours of work into it, which is fine with me. I don't mind putting tons of hours into something if I get really nice results. Lots of work rounding the edge of that hole. And then my wife Susie made me a 16 strand of silk braid to hang it on. Kind of hard to see probably in this video. But basically the colors in this braid pretty much match the colors in the stone.